Hi, everyone. This is Debbie, and welcome back to the Transition Bridge podcast. This is the podcast where we come together each and every week to discover more about the purpose and the power of our life's transitions. Now, today's episode is sponsored by Amy Throw, a leading consultant and image coach with Cabby, a unique women's collection that is effortless, thoughtfully designed, and helps women move confidently through every season of life. Amy works one on one with women to create style that reconnects them to who they are and who they're becoming. I've been a fan for years, and if you're watching my YouTube channel, you can see the beauty of the collection. You can connect with Amy and browse the collection with the links found in the show notes. And now it's time for you to meet my guest, and let's turn our focus to a topic that I believe touches all of our lives, and that's about how to protect our energy and how to set boundaries with confidence. That is why I am so thrilled to introduce you today to Alyssa Utecht. Alyssa Utecht is a holistic boundaries coach. She loves to help women and honestly anyone who's facing change and help them to stop trying to fix themselves, but rather focus on starting to protect their energy. Alyssa is going to help you really release those old stories, those expectations, and those emotional patterns that we have. They really just keep us stuck. And she's going to help you be able to set boundaries that feel natural and safe. And of course, the result is more ease, more joy, and abundance in your life. So, Alyssa, I'm so excited to have you here with us today on the Transition Bridge podcast.
Thank you. I'm delighted to be here.
Oh, this is great. Well, I know when I read about what you do, helping women, I know we so struggle with boundaries and like so many different things. And I know you have your own story of like a time in your life. I believe you were the empty nester transition. Your kids were starting to
Yes.
leave the coop, and then it's like, who am I now? What do I do? And that truly
Mhm.
is the question that all of us women want to know in that season of life. So tell us about that and how you became this holistic coach.
Oh, absolutely. These journeys don't take one single line. So I will try to be concise and just give you the
Sure.
bullet points, right? So I am an educator. I have an elementary education degree, and I stayed home to raise my girls. And so I loved it. Every second of it, I loved it. And throughout all this, I've had a lot of health challenges. I've had some traumas in my life, like most of us, I think,
Mhm.
and it affected my health. And as I was building this amazing life on the outside, on the inside, things were just, more dysfunctional, more dysregulated, more pain and more disease and more surgeries and more illness. So I stayed home with my girls, and I feel like I poured, everything into them. They're amazing. Just the love and the time. And I was so grateful to do this. And as they got older and needed me less, which is our job,
Right.
they started to, in high school plan, okay, what are we going to do? And so they both moved away quite a ways for college. And as they were getting toward making this decision, just sort of looked around. I was a substitute teacher. I'd stopped doing that. And so I just thought, oh my gosh, where am I in this life? What is next for me? Like this was my purpose. And what's my next purpose? And so it was really, I didn't really recognize myself. I had lost, I don't know, some of the luster, right? Just
Right.
unintentionally, just by giving and giving and giving, which
Hmm.
as women and some men, we do this. And so, because I had been on this health journey all woven all through this, I really had this sort of light bulb moment that was like, oh, I am meant to help other people with some of these things, that I've gone through, the pain and anxiety and childhood trauma. And I had amassed, without realizing it, this huge toolbox of tools, mind body tools, certifications, and just ways to help others. And so I just thought, this is my next purpose.
Mm.
And I'm here to really continue to serve and help others through, along this path that we're all in this together, really.
We really are. And I love how you said my new purpose, because as mothers, we just find a new purpose for our lives. And it is hard when we pour so much out and then the people we've poured into are gone. We've done our job. We need to say, well done. But then what's next? So I just love that you went through that journey because that's a real transition. That's a
It
tough
is.
transition in
Yeah.
women's lives. In fact, I started
Mhm.
doing group coaching once a month just for moms that are in that empty nest.
Oh,
You
it's
know,
a thing, right?
the thing, like, let me help you walk through because I've been there.
Yeah. Mhm.
Once you've gone through it, you can go, oh, yeah, I need to go back and help
Yeah.
the other
Yeah.
moms for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I
Hmm.
love your work, about protecting your energy. So tell us, what is the first sign that your energy is being drained and you need to set a
Oh,
boundary?
good question. There's not one symptom or signal. And some big ones are you're tired. You are starting to feel resentful toward the people you love most in the world. You might have a shorter temper than you used to. You might just feel apathetic about the things that you used to love doing or even love doing now, but you just can't. It's just too much work to even do the thing you love. So what happens is, and especially as givers, right? We give and we give, and if it's not going both ways, it's going to drain us. So
Right.
without realizing it and unintentionally, this has really the beauty of this work is it really doesn't have much to do with other people, right? Someone can take advantage of you or step on your toes or offend you. And if you are true to yourself and honoring yourself and your energy, it won't matter, or it will matter a lot less, or you'll get over it a lot more quickly. So the signs that really that you're leaking energy is that you're tired. I mean, that's one of um, the first ones. You think it's because you're going, 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 and it is. But when you're giving, giving, giving and not receiving anything, or when your boundaries are sort of holy, your energy's leaking out without you even realizing it, if that makes sense.
Oh, it does. And I think one thing for myself, what I notice is I lose my joy. And the thing that I loved doing, suddenly it's like I don't have the joy. It's more like
Yeah.
I feel like I have to do it rather
Yeah.
than I get to do it or I want to do it. And I
Mm.
think that's a good signal too. The fatigue steals our joy. And so is
Yeah.
this evidence then in our lives where we have not set a healthy boundary, maybe over our
Mhm.
time, over our
Mhm.
heart? And
Mm.
how do you help people then who've never set a boundary? How do you
Oh.
help them take that first step?
Oh, first of all, I love that you mentioned the joy piece because that is the huge either red flag or green flag for our life, right? If we are following our
Mhm.
joy, we are in flow, we are energized, we feel we're on purpose, our relationships are going well. And if we just don't have that joy in our lives, everything else just sort of deflates.
Right.
So this is a great question. How do we recognize, first of all, um, a boundary that might not be healthy or firm? So I just have people start with, how does it feel? When
Mhm.
you have a sibling, let's say an adult, a sister or a brother, and you see their name pop up on your text thread, and you go, oh,
Mhm.
that's a sign, right? It's how your body's going to let you know how you feel.
That's interesting. Okay.
So there's some other, like with money, a big relationship in our life is money. I mean, I have yet to meet someone who doesn't want more money. And so when you think about looking at your bank statement or your credit card statement, do you feel uncomfortable with it? Anxiety in your stomach or tightness in your throat or, you are going to, a church or a community event and you see someone coming towards you who's the chairperson of an organization, and you just know they're going to ask you for a donation or your time. And while you want to give, your body starts to kind of like contract and get tight because you have feelings about that relationship and that boundary. Doesn't mean you are supposed to say yes, doesn't mean you're supposed to say no. It just means your body is showing you how you feel about the relationships in your life. It just takes a little practice. It's like a muscle that we just have to get a little stronger so that you can start to recognize what your body is telling you. And I feel like that's the first great place to start.
So recognizing, as I say, the symptoms of
Yeah.
like our emotions are signaling to us, okay,
Yes.
I'm struggling in
Yeah.
this area. So this
Yeah.
may be the indicator of where I need to set the boundary.
Yeah.
And so what's that person's first step? Like how do you begin to help people set those boundaries? Because they're really difficult. I know
Absolutely.
myself years ago, I thought, oh gosh, that's like you're being so mean, Debbie, setting that boundary. And I realized it took me a while to realize that the boundary was actually making me feel safe and it protected me. But you feel
Yes.
like you're being unfair to the other person when it's really the other way around. And so,
Mm.
how do you help people find that healthy way to say yes to a boundary?
I love that you mentioned safety. So, in my work, what I have realized is it all comes down to safety. If we feel safe being able to tell our lovely, um, aging neighbor, oh, I can't do tea on Tuesday, but how about another day? We feel safe to do that. So, that boundary to respect our time and, what's good for us, that feels okay to set. It's when, like you mentioned, it's the safety. If our system, our nervous system doesn't feel safe, then it doesn't feel safe to set the boundary. So maybe we do still set it, but we regret, we have guilt, we have anxiety, we have all those feelings that come up. And so safety is going to be the number one thing. So I boundaries are an inside job. So again, if we do the inner work to heal whatever it is that makes it feel too hard or too scary or too impossible to set a boundary, then it doesn't matter what the outside people are doing. It doesn't matter what our kids are doing or our partners or our dogs or our, community members. So it starts on the inside. So finding tools, and I have a free gift that I will make available gladly.
Oh,
It
great.
has seven, actually eight, because I love giving. It has eight tools that help you calm your nervous system. So a person could just pick one of those. So there's like, well, just closing your eyes and taking a few deep breaths, right? With your hands on your heart, coming back to yourself, just letting your system know we're safe. There's no tiger trying to chase us, even though our system literally feels like it. We are safe, we are loved, we are protected. It's okay. Just come back to yourself, calm that fight or flight that's saying it's not safe. I can't tell them no. I'll be kicked out of the
Right.
tribe, or I'll, be criticized, or people will judge me,
Mhm,
right? Or they will
mhm.
not think I'm the superwoman that I want everyone to think I am, or man. So it really starts with the safety. And we can, talk about more tools, but that's kind of where we start the healing.
That's really good. So you help women realize the areas that are fearful, broken. You
Yeah.
begin to address those and
Yeah.
help them set a boundary that's safe for them.
Yeah.
Because it's not like a formula. Everybody's boundaries are different, correct?
Right, absolutely. And it comes pretty much from childhood or a trauma in your earlier life. So, you think about people, women often are trained to take care of everyone else.
Hmm.
And so we are really good at it. And so we learn how to take care of everyone else, often at the cost of our own needs. And so if you do that for years and decades, eventually it doesn't feel safe to choose you. Like, oh, I'm going to stay in and read a book while the family goes out to dinner. Or, people with childhood trauma, if they were the peacekeeper in a tumultuous household, it literally did not feel safe to do anything other than take be alert and take care of everyone else. And and you're not going to set a boundary if you feel unsafe in your own home. So we look back to maybe, one of the root cause and heal it so that the system can no longer fire up in that unsafety mode. And then it becomes easier with some practice to set the boundary. Because when you feel safe, like with your dog or I don't know that you can set boundaries with cats, but you're disciplining dogs, you're training dogs, there's boundaries. And like you feel safe setting the boundary. It
Mhm.
just becomes easier. So,
I love everything that you've shared, and I was just thinking of my own first experience with setting boundaries because I was the peacemaker, and because
yes.
I felt like it was my responsibility to have
Yeah.
peace when a family member came into my home, and I thought, well, I'm supposed to be honoring this person,
Yeah.
and so I always endured thinking, well, I'm the peacemaker and I should be honoring this person, even though I wasn't being honored, but I couldn't get past peacemaker honoring. And then when
Mm.
it finally got to the point where I saw how it was affecting me personally inside, that's when I knew and I read about boundaries and I thought, I need to do this. I felt so free. I felt like, oh my gosh, I have a tool that
Mm.
I could set in love. And
Mhm.
actually, with this relationship, and I don't, share your insight on this. Because it was an adult, I had to go to this person and kind of basically share how I've been feeling.
Mhm.
And I had to say, I think we need to set a boundary. And then when I hear you say a certain thing, I'm going to say this word so you know that
Mm.
you're getting ready to cross that boundary because it was that um, important that I had to
Mhm.
stop a critical type
Mhm.
interaction. So, do you just naturally walk through boundaries? And I think some you can, like if it's your time, but are there
Mhm.
situations where you have to or should tell a person you're setting a boundary?
Oh, I love that story. Thank you. First, I want to applaud you for
Ooh.
recognizing what your body
Mhm.
was telling you. And it's okay if it takes a day or a month or a year or a decade. Once we get there, we get there. So well
Right.
done.
Thank you.
And every relationship is different, every boundary is different. Absolutely. When we reach the point where it doesn't feel good, I s- I choose something else. Absolutely. Sometimes we go to that person and say, this doesn't work for me. So I love that you brought up that it was someone in your home because I have recently had the revelation that I'm not very good at house guest boundaries because I wanted to give and care and take care of. But like you, it had it was not honoring me in addition. So I absolutely we do go to the people who we care about the relationship, right? And
Mhm.
say, this isn't working for me. And I do want to point out a lot of times when we set boundaries or when we say no to something, that opens up the opportunity for someone else to step in. It opens up the opportunity for that person to see things just differently, not your way, not the right way, but just, oh, a new perspective. So every time we choose ourselves, everyone benefits in one way or another. I know it's hard to believe sometimes through the training, but I've seen it and I've lived it. And when we say yes to ourselves, everyone benefits.
I totally agree with that because in my situation, what I found was the other person was getting awareness of how they were presenting themselves. And
Absolutely.
also there was what's the word I'm looking for? A respect towards me for
Yes.
standing firm. And it
Yes.
ultimately brought healing to the relationship. So the boundary was the
Mm.
best thing I
Yes.
ever did.
Oh, I
And
love
so,
that.
yes, to anyone who's listening right now, if you're really struggling, if you feel like, oh, I feel guilty for saying
Mhm.
no, or I
Hmm.
feel like I'm being mean. Just
Hmm.
listen to what Alyssa is sharing in my own personal story. The
Hmm.
boundary was the best thing that I ever
Hmm.
set because it actually healed the relationship. It prevented
Absolutely.
it from further damage because
Hmm.
had I never stepped up, the other person couldn't learn as well and get
Hmm.
better themselves.
Sure.
And, both of us did. So I just wanted to do a little shout out to
I
the audience
love
there about
that.
that.
I love that. And when we set a healthy boundary and people see that, it gives other people permission to do the same. So you probably care about this person and you want them to be able to do what's
Mhm.
best for them, their highest good, right? Not just, the more, I don't want to say base needs, but what we think we want, but what's really good for us. So you are giving other people permission. Oh, wow. Debbie, had that story and she did the hard thing. It's like, okay, I can do it too. And it'll turn out and it'll be honoring me. Like you said, the respect. They respected you, but you respected yourself. And
Yeah.
if everyone in the world had this amount of self-respect, the world would be a different place. So
It is.
good
It's
job.
so healthy. So I loved everything that I was reading on your website. And so one of them was, you teach people how to create boundaries with power and certainty.
Mm.
Is that something that you need more of when you have a toxic relationship?
Oh, that is a good question. That is a tricky one. The toxic relationship. And there's definitions of toxic and everyone has their own ideas, but it
Hmm.
really can come down to you doing your own inner work, doing your own healing,
Hmm.
and then those triggers are not as pronounced. They're not as strong. That person might say that critical comment that a month ago would have just had you crying in your car on the way home. I mean, shame on them, not very nice. And, but they might say it, but if you are aligned with the truth of who you are and you've done this healing, you can see it as their hurt, right? When people say unkind things, it's
Right.
because of what has happened in their life. So you're just able to maybe see it, and maybe you say, you know what, that's not okay. You may not speak to me like that. So you might set the boundary, and the stuff that used to bother us just doesn't bother as much or as often, or we get over it sooner. It just shifts the whole dynamic. When we heal what's on the inside, the world around us changes, and it's absolutely miraculous.
I believe that. It's like our perspective changes, the lens that we are looking through at life gets cleaned up a little. And
Yes, I
no,
love
we
that.
get triggered. And that's why we do
Oh,
need our emotions
yeah.
healed. And so
Hmm.
what are some of the emotional patterns that we as women get stuck in?
Oh man. Okay, so the people pleasing, definitely we care about people and we want people to have a good experience or have a good day or, feel loved or find the thing they need. So people pleasing and I believe, hypervigilance is one.
Right.
As moms, as women, we got a lot of balls in the air. And so we just know how to keep an eye on this while we're doing this, while we got this person, toddlers and cooking and if you're at home or your work and you've just got all the things. And so it has us get in the habit of looking outwards,
Mhm.
which is important sometimes. And the healing and the power and the centeredness comes from inside. So we just need the balance. So sometimes we get out of balance when we spend years keeping an eye on everybody and everything.
Mhm.
Another big one, taking on other people's stuff. Oh, especially as a mom or an auntie or a cousin, you care about that person. You don't like that they're in pain and you want to take it, right? You want to just like scoop it all up out of them and you would take it on yourself. Well, that number one doesn't give them the ability to learn how capable they are and how they can figure out things in their life and how
Mm.
they can take care of themselves. Like they don't know their resilience. unless they've gone through a sticky situation. And so I think another pattern that women and maybe some men do is taking on other people's baggage. This is one of mine for sure. Just like, I'll just scoop it up and take it for you. It really doesn't take it from them, and then it adds it to me, and no one needs that. So, and then I'm less resourceful. So,
Nobody gets better. So,
nobody gets better.
oh, so yes, I know you're a very empathetic person, and that beautiful gift of being empathetic got out of bounds for you, right? Because you were realizing, oh my goodness,
Yes.
it became more of a burden than a
Yeah.
gift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. So I've been sensitive my whole life. I mean, I was, I think, probably trying to make people happy in the turmoil of my very, 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 very early childhood. So, and I guess I was good at it. I felt I was good at it. So you don't, when you're good at something, you don't, it takes a while longer to realize that that's maybe not healthy for you. So
Oh,
I could feel other people's energy. Like when people were fighting my whole life, I can feel it. Like it hurts my stomach. I can, when you walk into a room and you can tell that people have been arguing, that I can feel it. I'm just sensitive to physical things and emotional things and, words and, images. And so I've just spent years learning how to like avoid, like I don't watch scary movies, right? I don't need that in my
me
life.
either.
Right? It's like it's the stuff that keeps me up at in the middle of
Yes,
the
it
night.
goes
Like I
right
don't
in my
need this,
soul.
right?
It goes in
Yes.
my soul, and I can't do it.
Yes.
Can't
Yes. So
do it.
I avoided some things and I shut down on other things. Like I just had to shut down in order to not be bombarded with, you know, terrible things that are going on in the world that are just heartbreaking, right? I mean, because we're human
Right.
and we care. And
Mm.
so, and then I learned to avoid situations and it got kind of harder and harder to avoid life, right? And I was just taking on everybody's everything without realizing it. And that is the biggest contributor to, all my health, the health challenges that I've had over the years. So I knew that I was sensitive and an empath. I mean, I could often know what someone was going to say before they said it, or I'd be in a conversation and someone was having trouble coming up with a word, and I knew what they were going to say, but the third person didn't. So I'm always like, are you not paying attention, or how do you not know what's going on here? I can
Right.
just, I can just really connect with people and how they're feeling and what's going on. And so I knew that it was a gift. And I also knew that I had to change some of my ways. So over these
Mm.
years, I've just amassed some tools that help me keep my energy to me and keep other people's energy to them. And it's an energetic boundary is what I call it. So I clear out my space and I, have that person be there and we have, connection and communication and but the boundary is up so I'm not taking on their stuff, which isn't good for anybody. So it's
Like
become a gift and it's allowed me to become this boundaries coach where I can help others understand what's going on and then heal it and shift their lives permanently for the better, which is so rewarding.
you did a major shift in your gift.
Major shift. I did. I love that. I shifted my gift. Yes, I love that.
you kept your gift, but you learned
Yeah.
how to not
Yeah.
reach out. And like I think sometimes as women, we want to rescue, we want to
Oh,
protect. And so I think especially if you're an empath, you just want to get in
yeah.
there and make it all right. And I think a lot of us are that way too. And
I think
sometimes we
so.
don't realize like we're enabling
Yep.
people because then they're not able to, like you said, learn or get
Yeah.
better themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's out of love,
It's out of
but we have to
love.
learn it doesn't help us and it doesn't help the person. So it's a practice. It's a
Sure.
practice. Yeah.
Yes, it's a balance too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how much of like when you're helping people release their old stories
Mhm.
and the expectations, oh my gosh, the expectations get us in trouble. We just set ourselves up to be
Mhm.
disappointed to be
Hmm.
rejected because we have an
Hmm.
expectation of others. Do you want to
Hmm.
touch on that for a little bit?
Oh, that is a pattern. Thank you for bringing that one up. Really, when we are when we have these expectations for other people, we'll start with that one. And really, isn't it sort of this underlying desire to control other people? Not because I think really it comes back down to our fear, right? So fear and control are two sides of the same coin. So whenever I find myself trying to control the little things, it is because somewhere in my life or in that moment or in that day, I'm feeling fear. So when we feel fear, we often feel out of control. And so then we project out and try to control someone else's behavior, a partner or a
Mm.
child, an adult, a young adult child, or, we just try to control the situation so that we feel a little more comfortable. So, and that doesn't really help the relationship a lot of times. So I think expectations are really now expectations can be boundaries also. I see, this is how you can treat me. This is what we expect to happen. But I think
Right.
when we want someone to go get this certain job or act this way or wear these clothes, those sorts of things come down to the control because we feel out of control somewhere in our life. And that feels scary.
It does. It does. Boy, laying down expectations is hard because I
Mm.
guess it's connected to
Mhm.
desires that we have in our
Mhm.
heart, right? And we expect others to meet them. And when they
Mhm.
don't, we're so disappointed.
Oh,
And then
yeah.
we put something on that other person that they
Yep.
didn't deserve.
Yeah. Mhm.
Oh, so
Okay.
okay. So I was really curious on your website.
Mhm.
You had one area, identify your money ceiling. Okay, so tell me, what is that all about?
Ooh, so this is maybe another whole conversation. So that is that's a popular question. So the idea is we have five types of money in our life, and each type of money, let's just take income, right? So this will be have to do with your money ceiling. If you think about your income number, you could, like in talks and in groups, I have people write it down and look at it, like all your income. And then I want you to write down like the things you feel, the feelings that come up when you look at that number. So it might be anxiety or dread or fear or like not enough, like that not enoughness. And then write down the thoughts that are popping up in your brain as you look at that number. So it's not enough. What's wrong with me? I can't take care of my family. Um, I, you know, I need more. It's, all of the thoughts. So the emotions and the thoughts tell you where your money ceiling is. So if you take that number, and I usually have people double it. So let's say your income just $100,000 for a very easy number. And that's not enough. They have anxiety, they have worry, they have fear, they have limiting beliefs that come up. You hear
Mm-hmm.
money doesn't grow on trees, all those things we learn. And
Mm-hmm.
then I have clients double it, 200,000. And I say, okay, how possible does that sound to you? Like, okay, it's possible to earn that at a 2 out of 10, maybe. So that's where your money ceiling is. That 2, so that means between 100,000 and 200,000. You could maybe get up to 120. Does that make sense? I know I'm explaining this quickly. So that money ceiling is that feeling in you, how possible it feels to make that next level. Does this make sense?
It does,
So
because I can hear the emotions then start to come down.
yes.
Okay.
It's about your emotional reactions and the thoughts in your head. So those are those limiting beliefs. And then a lot of times there is a trauma, like a past trauma that comes up so it's like these three aspects of money that we look at and heal.
Mhm.
So that's where your money ceiling is. So it's like a thermostat.
Oh,
And you
okay.
might, you hear about people who win the lottery and then it's gone in 3 years. So that could be because they didn't know how to manage money. It could be because someone took advantage of them. A lot of times it's because they have a thermostat and it's set at this amount of money. So sometimes people will get a bonus, a big bonus from work, and that goes above but then their thermostat's like, nope, that's too much. So their car will break down. And there will be a sabotage, not intentional, but something that drops them back to the level that they feel comfortable at.
Interesting.
So money reveals everything that's going on in our lives. It's just money's the reflection of all the stuff that was already there, the anxiety, the fear, the worry, the shame, the guilt, all the things. So does
I love
that?
that. No, I love that because we don't tend to look at our finances that way and
Right.
discover the emotions that are attached. And I
Yeah.
was really interesting. That was fascinating.
So it's all directly attached to your earning, your saving, your debt, your um
Hmm.
income goals. Yep.
Well,
So
I think that you're the kind of person that I believe my audience would love to work with because I just love everything that you have shared.
mm,
You have such wisdom and
thank you.
insight. And
Thank
in closing today, Alyssa,
you.
I mean, I could just talk to you forever,
I know.
but I know we have a hard stop because you have a client coming. So I want to honor that time. And so,
Thank you.
what would you like to share with our audience? Anything that's just in your heart that you feel they
Mm.
need to hear?
Oh, there's so much. I just want to say, number one, you can do it.
Mm.
Whatever it is that you're wanting, if there's a nudge in you that says, this is not right, this is not how my life has to be, I know there's more. Just know that you can do it. You can figure it out for yourself. You can heal the things. You can create the life of your dreams. I promise you. And the second part of that is you're not alone. You have community. You have us. You have friends and family, and there are a lot of people going through these things at the same time. So know that you are not alone, even though sometimes in the dark, in the night, it feels like it. I just want you to hear me say you are not alone. We are in this together. So if you feel like you need support, and I know Debbie will talk about this, reach out just
Yes.
for someone to have a conversation with. There are people who are here to hold the space for you and listen and help you figure out your next steps if that's what you are asking, or maybe you just need someone to hold the space and you can just talk about the terrible thing that happened, and then that's healing enough, and then you can move on with your day. So you can do it and you're not alone.
Two beautiful and powerful statements to make. And yes, we are not alone. And so, Alyssa, if someone's listening right now and they want to reach out and work with you, what would be the best way?
Absolutely. So I would say go to my website. I was telling Debbie it is under construction, so it'll start to, things will start to change, but you can sign up for my newsletter. I have a blog, and you click on that or just hover over the blog, and you can read the blogs and let me know what you think. But there's a place to sign up for the newsletter, and then you'll be in contact with me. Also, go ahead and download that free gift. And just pick a tool, like whenever you're feeling anxious or afraid or stressed or worried or anything. Crabby, if you're angry, that is totally cool. Anger is just one of the emotions. Pick one of those tools and see if that can help you just calm your nervous system so that you can be in a more resourceful state before you take that next step. Otherwise, you can certainly email me at alyssautecht.com. And yeah, I will absolutely get back to you and we can talk about, how I can be of service for you.
And I will have all of Alyssa's contact information in the show notes. And what she was referring to, Transition Tribe, is 7 simple ways to soothe your system and shift your mood.
Mm.
You're going to discover so much that you need to discover. So, Transition Tribe, thank you for coming this week. I highly recommend that you reach out with Alyssa. All of us can struggle with our emotions, those stories that we ruminate on that keep bringing us down and stealing our energy. She can help you release that. She can help you set boundaries that are safe, natural, and that you will feel comfortable with. And so, again, thank you for being here. And remember, on the other side of that transition bridge are the divine revelations of all of the people that you will meet, all of the things that are yet to do as you move forth through the transitions in life that are calling you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.